Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source of real news in an unreal world, keeping you up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is the 29th of September, 2021. I am your host, the Shozen One, and joining me today, as always, my co-host for a very special occasion, the interview of NesNes, the new community manager.
Hello. Hello. What's up? Are we before we go into this, has everybody seen that community manager post? The introduction of our new community manager, because it's only been quite recent. And we already have an interview? I was surprised you guys got that together so fast, Shozen.
Well, first we got the CLC done, right?
Yeah.
Immediately after, we were like, let's introduce her to the entire community. What better way to do that than with an interview on AOTV?
Okay. Well, right into the action then, I suppose. I think we've shown that post here on the forums a few times before. She's been with us September 1st, so 1 month now.
It's been, wow. Yeah, a month.
Anyway.
It's not easy as a community manager.
I haven't talked to her much yet, to be honest, just a little bit in DMs and chat and so on, organizing some of the CLC stuff. But yeah, I know the CM work can be rough at times, and I haven't listened to the interview yet, so I'm like, will they talk about that, or will you guys talk about some of the stuff we just discussed in the ZVZ show? Anything you want to say to introduce, or are we just going to go straight into the interview today?
Well, I will say it's great to have a person come into community management who comes directly from the community itself. She has played Albion since free to play and really just loves the game, started modding, and then, worked her way up into community management. And we'll go through that story in the interview. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. I love the idea of bringing somebody from the community into community management.
Nice. Okay, cool. We will have some gold raffles as well during the interview. So I'll open the raffle in just a second, ! Raffle in Twitch chat. And then we will be jumping around a little bit in the background for Corrupted Dungeon, I think. Because otherwise we'll just stand in Carleon, and that might be we can watch some 1v1 in the background.
All right, sounds good. All right, let's get to it. Welcome to the Albion TV interview series. I am the Shozen One, and today I am joined by the new community manager, NesNes. How you doing, NesNes?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm NesNes. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little bit. I understand you've been playing the game for quite a while, and I thought maybe we could start at the very beginning, when you started playing Albion, what brought you to Albion, and how you became a community manager from a player.
That's actually a pretty funny story. Let's start at the beginning, I guess. I started playing Albion in April 2019. That was the launch of free to play. And what actually happened was that I was looking at a different game that looked very good to me, but what was most interesting to me was basically the system behind it. The sandbox system. It had full loot PvP, it had player-driven economy, and so on and so on. And I hadn't played a game like that before. So I was very interested, but that game at the time was not out yet. So what basically happened was when Albion launched free-to-play, it had its ads all over the place. And I saw one of those and I was like, hey, that looks exactly like that game that I really wanted to play. So I figured I would just try it out.
Not a bad choice. Albion's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I started playing it and I absolutely fell in love with it directly, pretty much. I had so much fun. I joined a guild right away, basically, and I was very lucky with that. I found a couple of friends. We started playing with each other. Yeah, just had a lot of fun.
It's a great game to get into, and it has so much draw early on. Like you said, the full loot PvP, everything crafted by players, this really incredible economy where if you can pick it up, like from another player, you know that another player made it. Like if it's on their corpse, there's a pretty good chance that either they picked it up off the ground by gathering it, or somebody created something with something that was gathered. It's really cool. There's just a very few items in the game that aren't, part of the economy, the circle of life, if you will.
Oh yeah, actually that was one of the things that I was really enjoying when I started the game, that you could actually be, to a degree, self-sufficient, you could say. I tried to craft everything and make everything myself that I used. Obviously, I couldn't keep that up for too long.
Early noob mistake right there. That's
Yes, absolutely.
It happens to a lot of us, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely wouldn't recommend it, but at the time it was pretty fun, and I actually got to know a lot of people by doing that, because I would enter like trade relations, like I would craft the bows and someone would get me the planks and whatnot. This kind of newbie things that you do, trying out the economy.
I'm glad that you were able to find assistance early on. It's the players like me who insisted on doing every aspect of their own crafting that really kind of fall behind. By starting to work with other people, even if it's just getting the planks, getting the refined planks from somebody and learning to get part of what you need from somebody else, that's what Albion is about. It's about each person fulfilling a role and working together to achieve great things. And in your case, early on, that great thing was a bow.
Oh yeah, actually I started playing as a main DPS. So in my guild, we ran a lot of fame farm groups. But back then, it was just after free-to-play, so dungeons just came out. That means random dungeons in the open world.
Mhm.
So everyone did it, and us, inexperienced as we were, we had a lot of very new players that didn't know what was going on. We were like in our tier 4 gear trying to do the dungeons in Elden Hill next to Martlock. Yeah, I was the main DPS at the time, and I thought that longbow was a good choice. So obviously, I also settled with bows for crafting. I changed my opinion a lot since then. I have to add to that.
That does happen over time, and with the addition of a few YouTube videos and maybe getting yelled at by your teammates.
Yeah, mostly getting yelled at, probably.
Yeah, that's usually the main motivator. I played on release with Derek, and I learned a lot.
Actually, I got into different classes. Was that at the time, some of the veterans in my guild ran daily fame farms. Like, it's this daily tier 6 keeper static dungeon in the Black Zone that they were running for 3 hours straight. They were really good at it. They were looking for a healer because for some reason their healer dipped out and wasn't coming anymore. And I had absolutely no experience in healing, but I was just trying to get into it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And they took me with them, and it took me a while to get the hang of it, but we eventually got so good at it that, yeah, we just worked really well together. And
you got that down on farm, right?
You what?
You got it down onto a farm.
Yes.
You just farmed it.
Yes, absolutely.
That's how well you were doing it. That's the content we're going to use to get our fame today. We're grinding through this thing.
Yes.
We're going to do it a few times.
Absolutely. It got to the point where literally I would know exactly where my tank was going in each tile set of the dungeon to draw the mobs exactly there, because he would do it in the most efficient way possible. And I can drop my heal exactly on that spot. I was using Fallen Stuff at the time. I could drop it exactly in the spot and knew exactly when I had to press what so that he would get through it perfectly. And it was very smooth. Actually, I could probably mention this at this point. You probably know the player Noob Slayer.
Yeah, I know Noob Slayer.
Yeah, Noob Slayer 79. He's been in GVGs. He's been part of some big guilds and everything. He started shortly after me, and he back then was in my guild. And what actually happened was that he started out loot ratting for our group. So what we would do was we would take one loot route with us every time that would just watch the entrance of the dungeon and then run after us to pick up the bags that we left on the ground and stuff. That was his job.
That's fantastic. This is one of the cool things about this game, and you had mentioned that there were a number of things you were drawn to the game for. I was drawn to the game when it was a single server for the entire world. So everybody who's listening have potentially played with Noob Slayer. He's not on a different server than anybody else. He's on our server.
Oh.
And that makes people kind of part of the story for everybody. And that's unique. That's really
true.
cool that happens for Albion Online. And you can't get that anywhere else. It's very neat.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I have to say, he started out as a loot rat, but once he started playing seriously and he actually started getting into PvE, PvP, he got really good really quickly. I think anyone who played with him is going to agree that he's just a very good player at everything he plays. He picks up things so fast. He shot calls really well as well. It's actually amazing.
Well, that's great. I love a good shout out for Noob Slayer. We have picked on him a lot in the past. When I did an interview with him before one of the CLCs, I think it was before the very first CLC, actually, he declared that he would get in and he would win. And
oh, wow.
Unfortunately, that didn't happen for the poor guy. And so we had picked on him because, he was a good guy and, he's one of our regulars, I guess you would say, in the all types of content. And when you're as good as Noob Slayer, getting a little bit of ribbing, is fine because you're better than 95% of the players out there that are competing at your level. So
yes, absolutely.
It was, it's not out of any disrespect for the guy that I pick on him. It's only out of respect for what he has accomplished. And I wish him the best, and I hope that he gets back to the 5v5 again. I did enjoy seeing him on that. He's been doing a lot of ZVZ stuff. Back in Madness, I believe. From there, what did you go to? You started healing. What else did you do in game, or was that the peak of your game?
No. Well, I started healing in Fame Farms, but you have to know that at the time I was playing on a super shit laptop.
Oh.
Extremely shit. Actually, it was pretty amazing how good we did with the Fame Farms, but it was only due to me learning all the moves by heart because I had to learn to play on 4 frames.
Yeah, that reminds me. So you said you came in at free to play? Okay, all right. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah,
you're talking about the old school ZVZs you weren't able to play.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, ZVZs in general. My laptop was just too shit for it. I couldn't play anything PvP related because I would just lag out and die.
Oh, that's not fun.
So what basically happened, in order to still support my guild that was doing a lot of ZVZ at the time, I got more into the organizational stuff. So I started managing the farms. I started managing gear reimbursements, guild assets, guild donations, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just did all the background work that had to be done that no one else really wanted to do either way. I also got into crafting.
Okay.
I did a lot of potion crafting at the time, food, animal breeding. I have a lot of spec in all of that, to be honest, until I finally got a better laptop and I could actually start going out with my guild more.
Well, it sounds like you've got a nice rounded experience in Albion, have touched on a little bit of everything from healing and, what did you say, main DPS? You were DPS when you started, doing ranged DPS as a bow, getting a little crafting in there. I heard you even did some gathering. Is that true? Did you do some gathering as well?
Oh yeah, I mean, I did gathering for a while and I actually maxed out lumber more or less.
Not bad.
Because the forest areas were always the nicest to look at, to be fair.
Well, I got to say, it's nice to, have somebody in community who is, well established in the game. Like, the game. Clearly, you've experienced a lot of the game. And so when you got that new computer, did you start doing that PvP?
Oh,
did
yes.
you get a little PvP in there, a little ZVZ action maybe? Because you're living out in the black zones.
Well, yeah. When I got my new computer, my guild also started shifting focus a little bit. So from ZVZing, that was like 2 seasons or so that we were mainly doing ZVZ and that kind of stuff because we were trying to get gold, and we actually did once as a fairly small guild. But then we started to shift focus and we started to get into more small scale content, like just ganking, scale fights, third partying, other ZVZs, that kind of stuff. And I really enjoyed it. I was so glad that I was finally able to participate, and I really enjoyed. Yeah, I still enjoyed healing a lot, but I also started getting into other stuff. I started playing Frost, for example. I have fairly high spec in Frost. Not as high as healing because I did that for most of the time, basically. But yeah, that's one thing. I also kind of touched on all the other mage and ranged weapons. Not so much melee. I did a little bit of tanking and that kind of stuff. But that's about it.
Have you done any of the small scale PvP with a group?
Yeah. Well, other than ganking, we did Hellgates.
Okay, Hellgates is good, yeah.
Yeah. 5v5s, 2v2s. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, all right. I'm just looking for alternates in my all SBI team 5v5 team that we have, and I'm always looking for alternates. And I hear
Wow.
range DPS and heals
Yeah.
that can really improve my arena queue time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
for
Good person to know.
we did a lot of arenas as well, just for practice mainly. But yeah, for 5v5 mainly I do Frost and healing. That's just what I'm best at.
Well, what I hear
Um,
is that you're involved in all of these aspects, and that makes me happy as somebody who's been paying attention to this for quite some time. Getting somebody into the community who's been part of the community already, awesome. I like that.
Thank you.
I like that. That makes me feel good. So how did you, let's talk about that a little bit. So you went from being part of the community
Yes.
to be involved in community. How did you do that?
Can we step back a little bit, actually?
Okay.
I actually wanted to mention another thing that I didn't get to mention. We were also doing a lot of Avalonian dungeons. My guild has also always been very focused on being extremely efficient at whatever we do. So when Avalonian dungeons came out, we were grinding those hard every single day, and we tried to figure out like the most effective ways possible to beat them. At the time, I mean, I was healing a lot of the time, but I was also like doing support. I actually have 100 spec in Witchwork stuff. I don't think that trick works anymore, but we were like trying to do the solo pull Witchwork staff thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we would do that for hours straight every single day. Like I would actually, my guild is very international, so they don't play at my time. So I live in Germany. So when they play, it's like 3 to 8 in the morning for me. So I would wake up every morning before work a couple hours early to play Avalonians with them. It was a really fun time.
That's dedication. I like. Okay. Dedication, devotion. Time to go dungeon raiding. I like it.
Exactly.
All right. Time to get the fame farm. All right. Other people are making donuts and you're getting that fame. I like it. It's a good early morning routine. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
And so how did you go from like early morning Avalonian fame farms to late night community management fixing the CLC sessions? Where's the transition here? How did this happen?
Well, I actually applied to be a moderator back then. Well, what happened was basically I was enjoying the game a lot, but I wanted to do more than just enjoy the game. Like, I just kind of wanted to give my part back to SBI, to Albion Online, after I've taken so much from it, basically, if you know what I mean.
Well, you got a lot out of it. You
Yes,
didn't
yes,
take
that's
it.
what I mean.
You put in your time
That's what I mean.
and you got a rewarding experience out of it. And you were like, how
Yeah.
can I pay back this community that has done so much for me?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's what I mean. I mean, it's been a big part of my life, right? I've been grinding Albion pretty hard for at least 1.5 years straight. So basically, I wanted to give something back. So I saw one of those forum posts where they were asking for more moderators, and they were specifically also asking for moderators that speak German as a second language or first language or whatever. And so I applied. I figured that would be a good opportunity. And a while later, they got back to me and were like, hey, there's a spot open. You want to join us? And so I did. I got into moderation. and it was pretty fun. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy helping new players. I really enjoy answering questions that come up, trying to solve problems that they might have, figuring out just how to make it work, and basically doing my part to make the community a little more enjoyable for everyone. But at the same time, I also kind of ran into a wall, I guess.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that you just can't do as a normal moderator, right? Like you run into a wall when it comes to certain access rights that you need, certain information that you don't have, certain people that you would need to ask in order to get that information, in order to help, like in order to find out how to make the game a little better, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it got me a little frustrated. But there was not much I could do about it at the time until I mean, I don't want this to sound weird, but like when Mythisaria left, there was an opening, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually one of my friends came to me and was like, hey, this would actually be a pretty cool option for you. Why don't you go and apply to that? And I seriously considered it, and it would have been awesome. I would have really loved to do so. The only problem was at the time I was living very far away from Berlin. Like as far away from Berlin as you can possibly be within Germany, basically.
Okay.
So I really didn't want to move. And the problem is it's an in-house only position. And I had, a nice place to live. I have family down where I live. I have friends. I didn't really want to leave all that behind. So I went through a lot of back and forth until I actually got an invitation from SBI to visit them at the office. That was obviously an amazing opportunity for me. I always wanted to see how SBI works. I always wanted to see the people that are making the artworks, that are making the game design, that are making videos. I wanted to meet the people that I've worked with before, like during moderation, for example, during answering player questions or whatever. So obviously I took that opportunity. I went here. I got to know a lot of people, and after that I was absolutely convinced that this is definitely where I want to be.
Well, that's like a feel good story right there. I like that. It's very rare that you get to have the opportunity to make the change that you want, and then something like this happens. This is just like
Yes.
you said, the position opened up unexpectedly.
Yes.
You already wanted to, help out in the community. You were already working as a moderator. I think I had actually seen you as a moderator a couple of times in mod chat and discussed a couple of things with you. It's very sometimes an opportunity presents itself, and it did. And I think that being able to bring somebody from the community into community it is a great thing. Community management is one of those positions that often gets overlooked by gamers until they don't have it. And when the communication dries up and there's not that back and forth that they're used to, suddenly they realize, oh my God, we don't have a community manager. But to get somebody who knows that community that they're going to be working with, generally that's a huge amount of the early training period is just introducing them to the community. But you know the people in Albion. You know the issues that are facing us. You have an idea of what you want to fix. You said one of the reasons that you wanted to do this was because there was limits to what you could accomplish as a mod. Now things are changed. Now you have the opportunity to impact the community in ways that you never would have been able to have as a moderator. And I've seen your drive in the last few weeks. I've seen how hard you work, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do going forward. I mean, I've been here for, if we count the time I was just a player, 7 years. And so
Wow.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do and how this community grows going forward. Do you want to maybe talk about some of the things that you're interested in this game and working towards? I'm looking at our time, and we're getting towards the the end of our interview time, but I know that you have things that you want to work on in this game. We have talked
Oh, yeah.
about them, and I think it's important that the audience hears about the things that are of value to you.
One of the things that I noticed while I was a moderator was that it is really hard for new players to get into the game, into the community. Obviously, it's always been hard, but when I started the game, a lot of people were new. Now, when new players start the game, they get into an environment of players that consists of a lot of already veteran players. You know, the players that started playing around my time got a lot of experience. They already know what's going on. They already know the meta. New players don't know that. They're having a very hard time to find a guild. They're having a very hard time to find people to play with, friends to play with, especially when looking at, admittedly, some of the chats, some of the global chats in the game. And one way that I would really like to improve this is to recruit more moderators in general, recruit more moderators for the forum, and especially for the in-game chats, so that we have more regulation when it comes to I don't know how to word this.
The less than welcoming conversation that you often get in English chat, maybe just a little less. I don't want to use the T word, but I think we all know what we're talking about when we say it's a shame that people turn off chat when they first get in, and I don't want to see that. And
yeah, exactly.
With more moderators, I think that you can make that a little bit more. I don't want to say the word friendly, but useful. I'd like to see it be useful. You know, I'd like people. It's constructive. I'd like people to feel like they can go there and have a conversation about the game without it being railroaded into non-constructive conversation.
Yes, I would like new players to be able to join the global chats and be able to receive help with what they need, find a nice group to play with, find a guild to play with, without seeing a lot of absolutely misleading and unconstructive conversations going on, without seeing people harassing each other and so on. And for that, we will need more moderators to watch those kind of chats. Another thing that I would like to see at the same time is better ways for new players to gain information in the game. Because, I mean, how I kind of grew into the game was by the veteran players in my guild telling me how to play the game, right?
Yeah, that's how a lot of us learn, yeah.
Exactly. That's the same for most of us, probably. They just learned the game from other players. They learned the game from watching YouTube videos or whatever. It would be nice to have, like, just a place. I mean, I know that our team has been doing a lot of work on the wiki. I have to give a big shout out to Clemmy and her whole team.
Shout out to Clemmy, yeah.
They've been doing a great job. They've been working very hard, and it's really coming together. So the wiki is a great start. What I would really like to see is that implemented in more places. I mean, obviously, that is not exactly my choice to make. It's just something that I would really like to see done.
I totally understand that. I got to say, on that last topic of teaching new players lessons in the game and teaching them more about the information that they'll need to progress, I have to say that we've seen some good progression over time in that, as we've seen I want to shout out the faction warfare system that has come through. It's much more accessible to players than what we had before, but the information in it and what it does and how you use it and how as a new player it can be beneficial to you is not easily accessible. That kind of content, it's all there for new players, but there's no real way for players to know that it is there. And that's where I would like to see a expansion of the tutorial, if you will, that leads you to all the content that we have in the game and gives you a breakdown of the different types. Like Hellgates are great. Hellgates are absolutely awesome. Those yellow Hellgates for players, getting into those either in 2s or 5s is awesome. But when the question comes up of how do I get into a Hellgate, what is the difference between Hellgates? What does a Hellgate do? Or more commonly, is there any kind of PvP for me to get into? Like,
yeah.
you know, they don't know the stuff is there. How do we tell them? And unfortunately, when the first thing players do is turn off that global chat, those conversations end.
Yes, I've heard this a lot of times actually. Players being like, "Hey, I looked at the global chat once and turned it off," and they never knew that there was something that's called the help chat where they could just ask their questions, and literally there would be people in there 24/7 answering them. We have some really, really helpful people in the community, not only moderators. There's a lot of players that just sit in there for a while and help players out. It's pretty amazing actually. Help chat is awesome. You guys should use it.
And also our content creators as well. Like if the global chat was welcoming, it would be much easier to say, hey, you should go check out a Quart. You know, he has a great video on Zero to Hero right now that helps anybody starting the game get out there and find quick and easy ways to make money and progress. There's so many great content creators that could get shout outs in this area, but because it's drowned out oftentimes with negativity, it's just not happening.
Yes.
And I know you want to work with content creators more going forward, because we've had this conversation about our channel, this Twitch channel, and what you would like to do here. But that's not limited to us, is it? You want to do things for everybody.
Yes, like I want to work more with AOTV, obviously, but what I also really want to do is to work with the content creators aside from you and your crew, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get a lot of attention. We could really shine that attention on some of the others.
Yes. What I would really like to do is to get into contact with them, to get into talks with them, to see what we can do in order to help them grow their channels, help them grow their reputation, and just basically to help each other make the content better. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually already had a couple like really good talks. I had a talk with Pew Pew, I had a talk with Nazari already, a couple others that I've briefly talked to. I collected a lot of good ideas about what we could do. I don't have a perfect plan for something like a content creator program yet, but it is definitely something that I am going to be looking into very closely very soon, and hope that we can realize it together.
I hope we can too, because I've been trying to get a content creator program going for these guys for quite a while. I hope to work with them more in the near future, as I do have that new player show coming up where I'm going to be cycling more and more popular streamers through AlbionTV. I think that that'll help a lot of them out. But I want to make sure that we do more for them to really increase their viewer numbers as well. And the best way to do that is to grow all of our Twitch interaction, I guess. There's I don't want to go too much into it, but there's plans, aren't there?
Yeah, there's ideas.
There's ideas.
There's a lot of ideas. Yes.
Speaking of ideas, in the future,
yes,
as a player, because we just talked about what you want to do as a member of the team here, but as a player, what are you looking forward to coming up in the near future? We got a lot of things coming up real soon, just with this big content update coming up around the corner.
Oh wow!
What are the things that jump out to you as a player?
I mean, there's two major things, obviously. Everyone has been talking about them. Everyone knows about them. I'm very certain. One of them is the biome reworks. And I have to say that I really, really love it. I've had the fortunate opportunity to look around the new biomes a little bit and to see the previews and see how they're doing all this new stuff. And it looks absolutely fantastic. What you've seen so far for reviews, that's not everything yet. And yes, it looks absolutely fantastic. I'm so looking forward to that. With it come a lot of zone changes, a lot of personality just to the open world. And I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. And another thing, obviously, are the Hideout headquarters that are coming up. I think they're going to be a great change. I can speak for my own guild at least, and for many other small guilds that I know, like smaller to mid-sized guilds. That is going to be an amazing opportunity for us to basically have a foot in the Black Zone without having to go through the big hassle of renting from somebody and never knowing whether you're allowed to stay or not, and whether someone else is going to own the territory the next day or whatever. Yeah, I think that's going to be awesome. I think it's going to encourage a lot of small scale fights as well. I think it's going to do exactly what the developers are intending to do as well. And I'm really looking forward to how it's going to play out.
As am I. I'm very excited to watch how this plays out next season. But this season coming up, the Energy Surge season, they're going to be fighting for season points with something on the line. And that's got me excited too. I want to see if people really do try to shuffle their way through and get some of these higher tier scores, not just go for gold, but go for, quality 6 HQs, see what they can pull out. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, yes. I'm pretty sure a lot of people will. I'm pretty sure this is something that a lot of guilds are going to be looking to gain the right to place an HQ. It's something special, something that's never been here before.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to put a lot of effort into getting that. And even though the season is short, we have the double, triple, and quadruple points, right? So I'm pretty certain that a lot of us are going to be able to achieve that.
I think you're right. I think that the cap is 500
600.
HQs. Oh, 600 now. Oh,
Yes,
boy.
it was changed just a couple days ago, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but I actually made an announcement.
Oh, I should probably pay attention to those. Okay. I see what we're saying here. You're
On the forum.
So you don't read the...
There's a post about it.
All right. Well, I'll go read it after this. Before I let
Yeah.
you go, though, I have heard a rumor, and I want to hear if there's any truth to this. I have heard that you beat Elsa in chess.
Yes, I did. Only once.
Okay.
Only once.
I just want that out
We
there.
played so many times.
You're not supposed to say that. Okay. I was giving it to you there. I was letting you walk away with, yeah, I beat Elsa in chess. What of it? He can play me anytime he wants.
Well, to be fair, I once got a draw and I once got a stalemate.
Okay.
But I also once got a checkmate, and I'm very proud of that.
Well, congratulations. Here's to that one and many more. I look forward to you joining us here on the team and all the changes that you're going to help bring about here in Albion. And maybe one day a new player will join this game, join the global chat, the English chat even, and find it to be a welcoming, warm place full of helpful and useful information and a community that makes them want to stay in that chat room.
Well, if he by coincidence meets Grohl in that chat, he's definitely gonna have an awesome experience. Shout out to Grohl. Amazing moderator, doing a good job. You should really check out his story on the forum as well. He's writing this what my characters have gone through in Albion, basically, kind of story. It's really cool.
I like it. A shout out to Grawl. I'll definitely check that out. I've actually been directed to that before. I've spoken with him a few times, and I do enjoy him in the mod channel. Definitely awesome individual. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, NesNes. I really appreciate your time, and I'm really looking forward to the future here at Albion and what we can get done in the community.
Me too. I'm very much looking forward to working with you and with everyone else.
All right. Thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.